The HTC 10, the latest flagship from HTC. Will it be the nerd from high school that turned into a successful millionaire? Or is it the high school jock still clinging on to their glory days? This intro doesn't make any sense. Or does it? Probably not. Intros are hard. This is the review for the HTC 10. Kicking things off with the exterior, the HTC 10 has a full metal unibody design available in carbon gray, topaz gold, or this one in glacier silver. It measures 145.9 by 71.9 by 9 millimeters. On the front, it has a 5.2-inch 1440 by 2560 resolution Super LCD 5 capacitive touchscreen, one front-facing speaker, a 5-megapixel selfie camera, and the capacitive home button also doubles as a fingerprint scanner. The back-end reset buttons are on either side of the home button. On the right-hand side, we have a SIM card tray, a volume rocker, and power button. On the left-hand side, we have a micro SD tray. At the bottom, there's a microphone, a USB Type-C port, and a bottom-firing speaker. At the very top, we have the 3.5mm headphone port. At the back of the HTC 10, we see the rear Ultra Pixel 2 12-megapixel camera, the dual-tone LED flash, and finally, the HTC logo. Now let's go over the inside of the phone, the specs. The HTC 10 has a Snapdragon 820, an Adreno 530 GPU, 4GB of RAM, 32GB of storage, and it's running Android 6.0.1. Now let's move on to the user experience. When I first saw the HTC 10 during the reveal, the phone looked like it could be a little slippery, but that's not the case. The design of the back of the phone definitely provides a bit more grip. I will admit though that the HTC 10 at 9mm thick feels more bulky when compared to other flagships. Take my Sony Z5 for instance. It measures in at a thickness of 7.3mm. I mean, there's a slim style case on it, but that's besides the point. But that's not to say that the phone, the HTC 10, is uncomfortable to hold. It actually feels quite ergonomic. I really like the fingerprint sensor on the HTC 10. I've yet to run any problems with it reading my prints. My Sony Z5 still has problems recognizing my finger sometimes, but it's gotten better. But that's a completely different story. The buttons were very nice to use on the HTC 10 as well. The power button is easily distinguishable from the volume rocker since the power button has jimping? I know jimping is a knife term, but it looks very similar. The HTC 10 runs very smooth. Now that's all thanks to the processor, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 820. In Antutu benchmarks, it scored 129,250. Now compared to the Samsung S7 we reviewed earlier, this is a bit better. Although you need to keep in mind that they are running different CPUs and different amounts of RAM as well. And for Geekbench, the single core score was 2,407, while the multi-core score was 5,255. Let's move on to media consumption. The screen on the 10 is pretty awesome. I'm not quite sure what Super LCD 5 equates to, but it does have big viewing angles and good color reproduction. Now, it might not look like it through the camera right now, so you'll just have to take my word for it. Now, obviously, we can't talk about the video experience without the audio experience, so here we go. HTC was the first company to bring consumers front-facing speakers and boom sound audio. Most people know I'm a huge advocate for front-facing speakers, as you can tell from my current phone, the Z5, and my previous phone, the Z2. Now, to have HTC provide one front-facing speaker and the other one bottom-firing, to me, it's a huge slap in the face. It means the return of the whole cupping your hand on the bottom of your phone and it makes you look stupid, but at least you can now hear your phone syndrome. I mean, if the bottom speaker was moved there to make the phone thinner, then yeah, I would totally understand, but the phone is still 9mm thick. So there's no excuse there. But it's not all bad news. There are a few saving graces. The first being that the bottom firing speaker has a bigger grill cutout, allowing for more sound output. The second is something I discovered by accident. HTC tweaked their speaker layout a little bit in a way that the earpiece speaker acts as more of a tweeter and the bottom firing speaker is more of a subwoofer. The reason I say I discovered this by accident is because I covered up the bottom firing speaker by accident, which led to a more tinny sound. Meanwhile, if you covered the earpiece speaker, then you get a more bassy sound. And when directly compared with a digital sound level meter, the HTC 10 is actually still pretty loud. From 3 feet away, my Z5 produced about 69.6 decibels, while the HTC 10 provided around 73.6 decibels. Onto the cameras. The aperture of the rear camera is f1.8, which is a big change from the f2.2 20 megapixel from the HTC One M9. And as an added bonus, the 5 megapixel front-facing camera has optical image stabilization. The back also has a laser focus sensor, and it will actually let you know if you're blocking the sensor, so you know where to move your fingers. Taking pictures on the HTC 10 does a fine job. Taking video is also great since HTC can do 4K, although it's just limited to 30 frames per second. And with all the video watching, music listening, email checking, picture taking, Twitter tweeting, and Instagram posting, how was battery life? Well, the 3000 milliamp hour battery did an amazing job with all the things I threw at it. At the end of the day, at medium low brightness, I can end up with roughly 46% battery life left. Now obviously this will vary from person to person. But if you are ever in need of a quick charge, the HTC 10 does include Quick Charge 3.0 technology. The unit we got didn't come with the Quick Charge 3.0 adapter, so we don't actually have any real world numbers, but HTC claims that you can go from 0 to 50% in just 30 minutes. So what's my final verdict on the HTC 10? Is it worth getting? Well, to be completely honest, if we were to compare other flagships that are out right now with the HTC 10, I probably would not pick the HTC 10. At $699, you're better off getting the Samsung Galaxy S7, and coming from me, that's a lot. I really don't like Samsung phones. Now, even though it doesn't come with a Snapdragon CPU, the S7 is thinner, has a better camera, and it's waterproof. But if you are looking for an upgrade from a previous HTC phone, you will be getting a Snapdragon 820, a larger screen resolution, a better selfie camera, and larger battery. If only the HTC 10 was announced instead of the HTC One M9, it would have made this decision a whole lot easier. And that about wraps it up for the HTC 10 review. Click over here for previous videos, check us out on social media over here, but as always, like the video if you liked it, comment down below and tell us what you think about the HTC 10. Was I too harsh? Also subscribe for more videos like this from Ncix. We'll see you later. Take this with me.